Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order. The time is 7:30, and this is the regular council meeting for Monday, June 9th. Clerk, can you please do a roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
I'm here.
Councilman Fleming.
Here.
Councilman Muir.
Here.
Councilor Rohrbach. Here. Councilman Soltis. Here. Councilor Wright.
Here.
Mayor Greifstein.
I am here, thank you. The invocation and pledge of allegiance this evening will be led by Councilor Rohrbach. I invite you to stand if you would like.
Good evening. As we gather for this meeting, let us take a moment to reflect on the significance of Juneteenth. It's a day that marks the long-delayed fulfillment of a promise that all people should live in freedom. Juneteenth reminds us that the journey towards justice and equality is not always swift, and that the true meaning of freedom goes beyond words. It must be felt, lived, and protected by all, for all. Let us carry that spirit into our work here, recognizing that our actions and decisions shape the community we serve. May we be guided by fairness, compassion, and the unwavering belief that none of us are truly free until all of us are. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. First up this evening is approval of the agenda. Can I please get a motion to add 8A, an update on non-emergency phone outage?
Your Honor, so moved.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, all support.
All right, thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we are going, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Against, say no. All right, motion carries. We are going to add under communications 8A, update on non-emergency phone outage. Are there any other additions or deletions? All right, seeing none, we're going to move into public hearings. First up, we have from the Finance Director, the MERS defined contribution withdraw and transfer agreement.
This public hearing is scheduled to receive comments on the proposed Municipal Employees Retirement System of Michigan, also known as MERS, defined contribution plan for the withdrawal and transfer agreement. As required by MERS Retirement Board Termination Policy and Procedures, the process to withdraw from this DC plan requires public notice at 2 consecutively regularly scheduled meetings of City Council. The first public hearing is scheduled today, and the second is planned for June the 23rd. The resolution to terminate participation in the MERS 401A defined contribution plan has been drafted, which, if approved on the June 23rd meeting, will permit the city to execute the MERS withdrawal and transfer agreement to move funds to Mission Square, which offers more investment options and lower fees. Following this first public hearing, staff recommends that City Council authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the MERS withdrawal and transfer agreement on behalf of the city, and for the City Council to schedule the public hearing on June the 23rd. And we are joined today with Brian Bryce and Dan Stewart if there are any comments or questions.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to open this up to council to see if there are any questions. Okay, I'm going to open this up to the public. We are going to have regular public comment later, but if anyone wishes to speak specifically on this, I invite you to the podium, give your name, address, any affiliation with this city, and with that, I'm going to open up public comment for this. And seeing no one wishing to speak, I'm going to close public comment. Do we need to make a vote on this thing to accept this?
You
or-
need to schedule the second public hearing on the 23rd.
All right.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the MERS withdrawal and transfer agreement on behalf of the city, and we schedule the second public hearing for June 23rd.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor,
Yes.
support.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. All right, motion carries. So we will schedule the next for our next meeting, which is June 23rd. All right, thank you. I'm now going to open the meeting to the public. So this is the opportunity for any of our residents or businesses or whomever to speak. I ask that you go to the podium, address your comments to me, take 3 minutes, give your name, address, any affiliation with the city, and with that, open public comment.
You need to entrance music.
You are fine. Take your time.
Oh, don't worry, I walk slow because I got MS. It's not your fault. My name is Paul Sanders. I live at 26433 Rialto Street here in Madison Heights. And the reason I'm here, well, I had a teacher told me I should go to 2 meetings a year when I was in high school. So it's your problem. I'm stuck with you. You're stuck with me. Just this last week or last month, Channel 4 had a big party down at what used to be at the UAW Hall. It's now where they sell pork. And I went to it because it's only 2 streets away. I was amazed that our city would like to have 11 mile and 13 mile still down to 2 lanes with 1 turn lane. And while we were there, because I was there, and several of the people from the city were there, between 2:30 in the afternoon and about 7 o'clock at night, 11 Mile is full of traffic. And I still think it's simply ridiculous that you want to turn that down from being 4 lanes to 3. I can't stop everything that's going on, but I really do wish you would know that people have stopped me at different restaurants and they've told me they have no idea why you want to do this. They're perfectly happy that we have 2 lanes going each way. And they're not trying to hurt the kids. They think it's going to be hurtful to the kids to be out riding their bicycles in the street. I only get 3 minutes, so it's just, why would you have children riding their bicycles in a street? It just doesn't make much sense. And there's Madison High School right there, at least on 11 Mile. The people that have talked to me in the restaurants, they have no idea what you're thinking. And several of them have told me that they are thinking about this when it comes to election time. I can only hope that you're listening to them. That's just, you're not doing it on 12 Mile. You're not doing it on 14 Mile because the state is more in control of those. Here in our city, especially as busy as 11 Mile Road is between the 2 freeway openings, I don't understand, and they don't. So I wish you would really think about this. And why are you doing this? Somebody's trying to force you? And our former mayor, who left out of here so he could be down in Hazel Park. Oh, by the way, when he left us, as you first came in, Mayor, it was so polluted. Yellow and green slime was flushing out onto I-75. The federal government had to come in to help clean up. That's how bad our city was. So God bless him. I think it's real nice that he wants to come in here and say nice things about all of you because you do good work. But he was nothing special. And that was pathetic. There was slime and filth, pollution that was washing straight out into the Great Lakes. Okay, with that, y'all have a good one. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak this evening? All right, then I am going to close public comment, and we've got next up the consent agenda. So we have 6 items on the consent agenda. We have from the city manager, the Clinton River Watershed Council, the Stormwater Education Program, Director of Public Services, the 2025 LRIP Grant Cost Participation Agreement, the Director of Public Services, 2025 West Nile Virus Resolution, Deputy City Manager, City Clerk, the franchise fee audit, the Director of Public Services, playground mulch installation, and then the City Council regular meeting minutes of May 12, 2025. Can I please get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, I'll support.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Motion carries. And then up next, we have the item that was added. It's 8A. It is for the non-emergency phone system. So we just want
So
to
we have, Ty from Skynet is going to update City Council on the recent not just recent, but ongoing non-emergency phone outage issues.
Good evening. So Saturday morning, we got the call that incoming calls were not working, so we started troubleshooting then. Over the course of the weekend, we determined that there was a fault on the router, and the last update I have as of 5:15 with the vendor is that they're RMAing the entire router, and the new one will be here tomorrow morning.
Okay, are there any council questions? Anyone on council have any questions about this? Go ahead.
So is that the problem, it's just a router?
It was the router itself. There's two expansion slots. One of them is for the T1 that runs the phones, and it was in a constant boot state. And we swapped it out with a known good working card, and the working card still was in a boot state.
Got a follow-up to that. So what is the plan of action to ensure that you guys follow up on that new router and that is identified as the problem going forward, or the fix?
So after the new router comes in and is configured, we'll ensure that it's fixed. What we'll do from there is we're gonna have to have an audit of all of the routers that utilize the phone system to make sure that they are still under support contract. Because the issue why this one was taking so long is the support contract was not under the right organization. So we could not get an RMA started on it till this morning when the manufacturer's account rep for Madison Heights was in the office.
Got it?
Yes.
Just to clarify, so you had said Saturday,
Correct.
but on Wednesday, May 28th, we had an ITAC meeting, and the phones had gone down
Correct.
prior to that. And the discussion at the ITAC meeting was around the vendor and equipment failure, which is different than what you just, I mean, it's the same problem, but you said that the problem occurred on Saturday, when in reality, the first iteration of the problem occurred on the 28th?
No, the problem that occurred on the 28th was the telephone vendor problem. The issue that was occurring was with the Madison Heights equipment. I have this report I can give you. Well, not a report, it's the printout from Telnet Worldwide of all of their outages and status and maintenance. And each outage correlates with a maintenance or an reported outage that they were having at the time. So there's one from the 23rd, the 28th, and then the most recent one was this week on the 3rd.
Okay, and Your Honor, if I might
Yes,
continue.
please.
At the ITAC meeting, myself and other members of our technology committee encouraged the city. We didn't take a formal vote on it, but we had a unanimous agreement encouraging the city to publish the reason and rationale for the phone system being down when we push that out to the public. So that way we don't get a bunch of calls around, why are we turning it off? What are we doing? Like, if it's an equipment failure, we should note that to the public.
Okay.
And note what the fix is and what the estimated timetable is, where we're not going to keep running into this issue. We've known each other a while, working on the ITAC committee. I have a really big problem with the way that this was handled and caused so much confusion from our residents. You have all of the data to back it up. We've had a vendor issue, we have equipment failure, other vendor issues, things that are dying, basically this equipment is dying before it was supposed to be end of life. All of that is reasonable, but was not communicated to the residents until just right now.
Understood.
So we got to find a better way of communicating that to the residents, because all they see is emergency, non-emergency phone lines are down. And they see it again 2 days later, and they see it again a week later, and they start to just wonder, what the hell are they doing in City Hall?
Okay.
When there are reasonable explanations for what's happening that just simply wasn't communicated to the residents.
Okay. I will work with the teams and get that communication to be able to come out.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions, comments from council, please?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on that. For like 12 years, I don't remember anything like that happening. So I don't understand how it happened just recently in the last 12 years. I don't remember anything like that.
Or in terms of the router dying?
Yeah, and the mess that happened.
Yeah, so the router that is ceasing to function is from 2016. It's end of life, I believe, in 2028. So there still is some serviceable life left on it. It's just, at this point, it's getting near its point of failures. So that's why we're going to do an audit of the rest of them to make sure that the status of the modules and the equipment is okay or good.
Okay, so it's supposed to be around for another 3 years? And in the
Correct.
last 2 weeks, my nixles have all been about these lines being down. So are we going to be going through this for the next 3 years? Or we're waiting to see what the audit is saying? I mean, just looking at what's happened, I'm not particularly concerned with what the audit says. If the audit says they're fine, it's not true.
Okay.
So what are we doing about this? What are you doing about this?
Short of the incident that started on Saturday, every other issue has been the telephone provider having issues. The organization, the Telnet Worldwide.
Okay.
So they have outages, maintenance where the phones have been going down. The one today is because of the hardware within Madison Heights.
Okay, so I, as a resident, have my phone, and I get Nixle updates. And sometimes there's, an autistic person is missing, there's a juvenile who's missing. But recently, it has said, non-emergency lines are currently down. Please call 911 for emergencies. Any other non-emergencies, you can come to the Madison Heights Police Department lobby. Great. This is what I have for the 23rd, the 28th, the 31st. Like, this is what I'm getting. So I, as a resident, don't know any of this in the background, and this is all I see. So if I understand correctly, these last 3 messages have come about because Telnet, I, as a resident, don't know what that is. A router, I, as a resident, don't understand that. I don't know if this is a city or who this is, but when we get these messages, can we at least see that there's a difference? Because I looked at this, I got the last one, was it Saturday morning? And I said, and I wasn't here, I was out of the city. And I said, what is going on with this? Like, what am I missing? What is happening? Why does this keep going out? And then the city manager did reach out to all of council and let us know that there was a situation, whatever. But I, as a resident, just said, I don't know why I have Nixle anymore. All it's doing is telling me about these lines being down. So I don't know if this is something that the city does, the Nixle, or who does it, but we need to better communicate this to the residents. Because I, as a resident, had just kept seeing these messages that the lines were down, and it was confusing and it was concerning. So I don't know if that's you or who that is, but it needs to be better communicated. And then I think that all of council is probably interested in seeing the results of this audit and seeing what's happening. Because, I mean, we all get that sometimes the power goes out or a router goes out or whatever goes out, but we've just had, 3 in a row of what sounds like different things. That's concerning.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, we, as far as I'm aware, we don't push out the Nixle alerts.
Okay.
But
Then that would be a city thing.
Yeah, I will we will track down who in the city is.
Okay.
And like Mayor Pro Tem was mentioning, I will work with the team here that when there is an outage, they'll communicate to whomever does the Nixle alerts to explain it to the point where it's not word soup, where someone doesn't understand
Sure.
that but it's understandable that what is down and why it's down.
Okay. Just, and I would appreciate that. Just, it's Telnet, it's the provider, it's the router. And I think these things need to be, outside of that, these things need to be addressed, because as I said, we had the 23rd, the 28th, and the 31st, I think it was just bing, 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 all in a row, out. So,
Your Honor?
yes.
If I may also, if you could give a response to the public on, the other times it was like internet provider, like service issues, but this time failing router. So could you just tell the public the router failover protocol that we have in place and why that broke down? Because in theory, if the one router fails, the backup should take effect. So what happened in this case that didn't happen?
There, as far as I'm aware, there is not a phone router backup. There is only the single card and line that runs through the main line here at City Hall.
Hold on, Mr. Fleming?
Yeah, I can talk to Mayor Pro Templis about that later, going into some technical issues about that. But my question is about the Telnet service, right, that's going down constantly. Are they related to each other within the same month, or are they just different? Was one like a fiber cut, or one they had a piece of equipment in their network that went down? What was the reason for outage there?
On the 23rd, when the phones went down, we got the call at 1:56 a.m. It was scheduled maintenance. They were migrating IPs to a cloud PBX, so a cloud phone system. And that looked to be resolved around 4 p.m., or, I'm sorry, 4 a.m. On the 28th, reported partial service disruption at 1:43. I'm sorry, no, that's when it was resolved. It was 11 a.m. on the 28th, is when they started monitoring the issue. The root cause was from the previous, it says when the IPs were migrated, the wrong IP pool had been configured. On the 3rd or the 1st, the last incident was partial service disruption on the 3rd. And that one says, I'm sorry, it said the disruption experienced on the 2nd, but the notification came out on the 3rd. And this one dealt with the cloud auto attendant. But I'm not seeing, oh, it says root cause disruption was triggered by a failover event at their SBC, so their session border controller. It was a routing issue to the public internet.
So do they, okay, so here's my question. For the planned outage, for the planned maintenance, are they giving us providing us with a notice that it's happening to anybody?
I'm not aware of us getting a notice.
All right,
These
so
are, this is from their status page on their website.
Okay, so that's important that we ask for those kind of notifications when they're going to have a planned maintenance in the maintenance window. And then for the other outages, are we getting, we should be looking into maybe a rebate or something like that off of our service, since if they're not meeting our SLAs. So, I mean, the ITech board can go over that too, and see what maybe we can come up with. But
Yeah, I have a question. I
Hold
didn't mean to
on,
cut you off.
no, you can go right.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
And maybe this is a general question, because maybe I'm not an IT expert. I have been to Micro Center before, but I feel like you're using some simple terms like a router, and like we only have one router. And so in my mind, my first question is, why don't we have a redundancy in place? Because this is a very significant role. It's a critical operation, in my opinion. So, I mean, again, been to Micro Center. So is it just not necessary to have a redundancy for this type of a thing? Or is it a cost-saving thing? Like,
Your Honor, so in the telephone network, right, for the T1, is that what we have right now, is you would have to have two T1s basically coming into our router, and one would fail safe over to the other one in case the one was down. So we don't have that redundancy of telephone lines coming into us to provide the service at all. So when the Cisco has, for instance, you have different ports where the connectivity happens, and if one port, the Cisco routers do not have, some of them do, but some of them do not have the redundancy where they will fail safe over to the next port over, especially if we don't have two of the same service.
Okay.
kind of makes sense.
Your Honor.
Okay.
I just have one quick question, and I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I just, My concern really is with all the non-emergency calls being routed to dispatch 911, do we know if we encountered any issues with dispatch capacity to service the 911 calls during the time that the outages were in place?
Are you gonna?
They were not routed to dispatch 911. They were routed to a 911 dispatch phone.
But if they called 911,
It
we
was,
said, because Nixle said if you need to non-emergency, or, the
Non-emergency,
emergency
call
line,
911.
call 911 for non-emergency. So if they called 911 for non-emergency, at what point did they
Oh, I see what you're
get routed
Yeah,
to non-emergency,
That-
right?
That's what we as residents were told. Our 911 is working. 911 has been working. But if you need to call because my neighbor parked their car, I don't need someone to come out right this second, but I want to report this. It's a non-emergency, which, everyone makes these non-emergency calls at some point. Nixle said, call 911.
So I'm not aware that the 911 phone lines were flooded. I think
Okay.
most people were respectful of the fact that 911 still is truly for emergencies, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I do have one question, and I don't know the answer to this, but do we have like a failover for the 911 PSAP lines? I don't- We do have that. All right. So that means, just to let people know and who are listening, that basically when you call 911 and if ours are down, they will route to another PSAP to answer the calls. And then they will, since we usually have a mutual radio system, they can dispatch vehicles and stuff like that.
Okay, so.
That's correct.
Okay, so just to clarify for everyone, if there's an emergency, call 911. If for some reason our 911 is down, it will go to a neighboring community who will help. What we're discussing right now is not emergency 911. We are talking about non-emergency. And it does sound, I mean, I know me personally, I don't know why I would call non-emergency, but if I was going to call non-emergency and I received this message, it wasn't an emergency, I probably wouldn't call 911. I would wait until the lines were back up, and then I would call. Because then I believe we do get a notice saying lines are back up. So, and that's the whole idea of being non-emergency. The frustration is that keep getting these messages, they keep going down. And I understand it's not one issue, there's multiple issues, but they all happened in a very short period of time. So it's two things here. One, why does this keep happening? And two, we need to do a better job communicating to our residents. So whoever that "we" is, it sounds like ITEC asked for some kind of communication, and somehow that didn't get passed along to whoever types this into Nixle. So, and I know that the city sometimes will post just, something saying that they're down. So if we could get whoever that is, it doesn't sound like it's you. So whoever that is, who is supposed to be getting this message out to our residents so that residents know. But what does sound like it's you is figuring out the underlying issue. Why does this keep happening, and what is being done so that there are backups, there are some kind of redundancies in place? It's great that we have our 911, but what if our non-emergency goes down? We need to have some kind of backup for that as well.
So the police department sends out the Nixle alerts, but
Okay.
IT will have to give, of course, the person the
wording.
wording to
Okay.
put
Okay.
in.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor?
Yeah, sure.
Just one final thing. So I was looking through minutes, notes, I can't find it, but as a part of our discussion where ITAC asked Skynet to develop the disaster recovery plan, a big piece of that was the failover of the phone service. And so there was a heated discussion. There was a big thing brought up by multiple members of the committee from the public. For the public's, I guess, sake, ITEC is our technology board. I brought it in when I first came onto council, and it's a bunch of IT professionals advising the city on best practices. And one of those best practices in the disaster recovery plan was this failover. So if it is currently not in place, and, you're accurate in your statement, let's prioritize getting that in place. whether or not we need a second line coming in from another vendor. It sounds like that's warranted in this situation, and it's not, if I remember correctly, and again, I tried to find the minutes, I couldn't, but if I remember correctly, it would have cost the city $100 a month to have that failover. I think we need to do that. So, the two things, my two requests, first and foremost, we need to have that information passed along so the Nixle system, as well as our social media accounts, can fill the public in on what's actually happening. And the second thing, please revisit the disaster recovery plan, look at those notes, and let's get that failover in place, because if we don't, we're going to run into this again at some point anyway.
For the, I'm not sure I was part of those discussions for that specific disaster recovery plan you're speaking of. But this last fiscal year, well, this fiscal year is coming to an end, and the fiscal year previous were phase funding to replace the entire phone system. So that should be occurring this fiscal year. But if I recall correctly, it has to go out to RFP, correct? Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, Your Honor, if I may,
Yes.
I don't think we can wait, because if this happens again in a week after we just had this discussion, our residents are going to be furious at us.
Okay.
So if you could compile a report that could be provided to council with the costs and the implementation time to be able to do that, I would greatly appreciate it.
Can do.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the council? All right. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have our reports. First one is the CED Director. It's the right-of-way property acquisition of the United Methodist Church.
In November of 2024, city engineers conducted the survey in preparation of the 11-mile streetscaping project and confirmed that the property line for the United Methodist Church, located at 241 East 11 Mile Road, was at the existing sidewalk, unlike every other block in the area. While it is possible to include on-street parking for the streetscape project without additional right-of-way, obtaining the additional right-of-way would match existing adjacent blocks and ensure a more uniform look in the project area and provide room for pedestrian amenities. The Downtown Development Authority and the church have worked out an agreement to grant the right-of-way to the city in exchange for the DDA paying for the construction of a new church sign estimated to be $12,575. Staff and I recommend that City Council authorize the city manager and clerk to sign the property transfer agreement and the quitclaim deed for the acquisition of 27 feet of right-of-way for the sum of $1. In exchange for this additional right-of-way, it is understood that the Madison Heights DDA shall bear all cost of removal and replacement of the United Methodist Church sign.
All right, thank you. What is the wish of council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that council authorizes the city manager and clerk to sign the property transfer agreement and quitclaim deed for the acquisition of 27 feet of right-of-way for the sum of $1. And note that the Madison Heights Downtown Development Authority shall bear all costs for the replacement of the United Methodist Church sign.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, all support.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor?
Yes.
One little correction. The city doesn't have to sign the quitclaim deed. It's been signed by the church. We just have to record it with Exhibit A, which are the plans and specifications.
Does that make her okay with that?
Yes, I make that change.
And support?
So I support it. yeah.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so I will make a comment. So this is part of the streetscape plan that is taking place on 11 Mile that was alluded to during public comment. This is something that has been in the works for a few years. And this is something that we received some funding for. Some of the funding specifically came about because there is a school there, and it is to make this area a safer area. And as was mentioned, just this one portion, it just turned out that the city doesn't actually own that. So we're doing that now, and it was a conversation. I want to thank Giles Tucker for his work. He was instrumental in that, a lot of back and forth with him and the church, bringing it back to the DDA, letting us know what the options were for the signs and just everything there. So Giles did a lot of work on that, and I just want to say thank you, Giles, appreciate that. So I will definitely be voting in favor of this. If there are no other questions or comments, I'm going to take a vote for council. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Motion carries. All right. And then we have from the CED Director, the special land use request PSP 25-02 at 436 East 14 Mile. It's major auto repair and service.
The applicant requests special land use approval from City Council under Section 15.05 of the Madison Heights zoning ordinance to operate a major auto repair and service use at 436 East 14 Mile Road, zoned M1 Light Industrial. The Planning Commission held the required public hearing on May the 20th and recommended approval with conditions of the special land use request. The recommendation to approve the special land use request for the major auto repair service facility came with the following conditions. A minor site plan shall be submitted to the Community and Economic Development Department in accordance with Section 15.04 of the zoning ordinance. The minor site plan, when submitted, shall be designed with the following, to satisfy the following. The site plan shall meet the minimum footage landscaping requirements contained in Section 11.05. Administrative waivers will be accommodated to comply with the DTE pruning requirements of the nearby overhead wires. The site plan shall denote locations of customer employee parking, parking for vehicles awaiting repair, and any outdoor storage. The designated ADA parking space aisle shall be increased to a width of 16 feet in accordance with the ADA standards and shall be shifted out of the drive aisle. A detailed floor plan shall be provided which denotes the number of hoist and service bays within the building. Lighting will be adjusted to ensure no trespassing of light and allow the building department to determine if the photometric plan is required. A minimum site plan and use shall satisfy the use-specific standards for auto repair and service facilities contained in Section 7.03.2 and attached in the staff report. The use-specific operating conditions shall be listed in the final certificate of occupancy. The Community and Economic Development Department will be responsible for approving compliance with the conditions noted above. And the applicant is here tonight.
All right, thank you. What is the wish of council?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we grant special land use PSP 25-2 with the conditions requested by city staff.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, I'll support.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Your Honor,
Yes.
can we have the applicant tell us about the kind of changes that they're going to do to the building or the property itself?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I'm representing Mr. Nalu, who is the property owner. My first name is Jono, the last name Norian. I own NXT Commercial Real Estate. I am the broker of the project. And I also help him with the general contracting. We already upgraded the lighting and changed that. We've already painted the inside, painted the windows to get rid of the red. And we're in the process of talking with Matt to abide by the ordinance for landscaping. The interior is mainly collision shop, so he is in the process of placing with his contractors where all the units are going to be in the inside, paint booth, et cetera. So that'll all be specified in the site plan.
All right, thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, so thank you. Just for reference for our residents, anybody watching, this went to planning, and everyone on planning said, this is great, we like this, but here are a few of our concerns. And instead of saying, no, come back in another month or two, planning said, okay, will you make these changes? Do these seem reasonable? And the owner said, yes, these seem reasonable. We can do this. We will work with the city to do this. So planning said, okay, then we're good with this. Now council needs to approve it. So Madison Heights has always been proactive with working with our businesses and putting up as few roadblocks as we can, and that was the perfect example of it. And so I'm going to be voting yes on this. I'm not particularly fond of having more auto-centric in here, but where this is located, it's been empty for quite a while, and it's right next to, auto repair already, so it's just an extension of that. And from everything I'm hearing, they're doing everything that they need to do. They're doing the landscaping, they're doing everything they need to do. So that's what this is. And a lot of times, when people come to council and we vote on things, you see us do a really quick vote, whatever, but most times there's a lot of work that took place before that. And sometimes it's all of council who's involved, sometimes it's just one or two people who have been involved. With this one, people up here would be city manager, myself, and Pro Tem Bliss, and I guess the Shermans as well, the attorneys. So, we were involved in this, throughout, and then not sitting up here would be our planner, Matt, as well. So, and the rest of the planning commission. So if there is no more discussion or comments, I'm going to take a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. Motion carries. And last up, we have bid awards purchases, the Skynet IT contractor. This is the annual Microsoft licenses.
Skynet Innovations, the city's IT contractor, is requesting approval to purchase Microsoft 365 P1, G1, and 3.1 annual license for city staff. P1 license include Outlook and encryption. Staff recommends approval of the purchase of these license in the amount of $63,432.
All right, thank you. Can I get a motion to approve?
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the purchase of Microsoft P1, G1, and G3 licenses in the amount of $63,432.
All right, thank you. Is there support?
Your Honor, I'll support.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just a recommendation, they pick a less eerie name than Skynet, because we saw Terminator, not a good name.
Is there any?
Your Honor?
Yes.
Perhaps the vendor can come up. One of the things that I asked for at the last ITAC meeting, and I know we haven't developed it yet, but a policy around AI use and how to be able to leverage that to be able to improve city services. And I just want to understand what type, what are the AI components that are included within the licenses that we're approving right now? Should we get that policy done and want to move forward with more administrative AI uses over the coming months to year?
Currently, the, is it on my other sheet? Nope, it's right here. The Office 365 G3 do not have any of the Copilot licenses. The M, so the Microsoft 365 G3, the more expensive license comes with the Copilot. So there's currently not any of the Microsoft AI included with these.
Okay, and what is that price difference if we were to add it mid-contract?
It would go to it'd be prorated to the end of the year, because no, this is monthly, let me see. No, this is paid for the year, so it would prorate it to the end of the year. So it would be the upgrade from what it is currently for the G3, for the Office G3 to the Microsoft G3.
Okay, so the quoted price is locked in. If we were to upgrade, it would just be prorated with the numbers you're quoted today. We wouldn't see an increase if we chose that?
There would be an increase for the,
I mean, an increase in the prices that you have in front of you for
No.
the higher license? Okay, thank you. Not that I like Microsoft Copilot. Gemini and GPT are much better in my opinion, but I like us having that option because the more and more that we can adopt to be able to streamline these administrative tasks, the better off we're going to be. I think the city's workforce is a third of what it was as of, I think, 1999. Correct me if I'm wrong, those who were around. But I think we're about a third of the workforce that we were then. And so our staff having to do pretty much the same work, but with far less administrative staff, AI could significantly improve the service that we deliver to our residents if we do it right. And so part of that is do the policy. Policy is going to take us a couple of months to be able to put together. But at some point, I wanted to make sure that we had the opportunity, if we so choose, to be able to upgrade and put some of that power into the hands of those who need it in City Hall.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I have already started that process, and
Thank
I've
you.
identified like 8 to 10 municipalities that already have an AI policy. However, they are extremely large municipalities, and I haven't had a chance to look through them yet, but that process has started.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
For that. All right, seeing no more discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. All right, motion carries, and with that, I welcome closing comments, starting with Councilman Meir.
Thank you, Your Honor. There are lots of wonderful things going on in the city, as always, and my fellow council folks, I'm sure, are going to hit on those, so I will pass. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Pro Tem Bliss?
Yeah, three quick things. First, I agree with the public comment. I supported other plans, but the adopted plan for 11 Mile, I couldn't support that. I voted no. I continue to think that the plans that we turned down were considerably better than the one that we're putting in place. But, you know, I think we're going to have some continuous public comments on that as the construction starts, and, you know, leading into it being completed. I still hope that I am wrong, and this is an incredible step forward for the city, and we will not need that additional lane with traffic. But I am not convinced based on the traffic study I saw. Second, I appreciate the city's IT contractor for coming in front of us. That was hard and grueling. I know it's not a standard part of your typical day-to-day to come in here, and I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate the awareness that it brought to the public for what is actually happening. I think sometimes we try to simplify things down to the phone system's down, call 911 if it's an emergency. But I think we're then removing the public's ability to understand what's going on. And so, you know, I'm glad that the path forward is now clear, and I'm glad that the public that watched this meeting is going to get your response for what actually happened. And I look forward to the changes being put in place, both on how we communicate this to the residents, as well as how we manage failovers in the event of that type of disruption, because we now have enough data to tell us it's going to happen again. And frankly, this is precisely why ITAC exists. Technology, things change so quickly. There's so many nuances, and having that resident board there to hold us all accountable for best practices. Had we not had those conversations, my questions would not have been as pointed today, and I work in tech. So I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you coming back to council with that report, and hopefully some great changes swiftly so we don't get another Nixle alert and have to deal with this type of resident fallout. And lastly, I just want to say happy anniversary to my wife, Allie. I'm here. I will be leaving to go and have dinner with her. But I truly appreciate her. The 12 years that I've served on council would not have been possible had it not been for her. And so I just want to give her a shout out. Anybody who is watching, the three of you, if you know Allie, shoot her a message on Facebook. You know, tell her thank you, because without her, I wouldn't be here. So, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Ray?
Happy anniversary. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I just like to start out by saying Happy Pride Month to our LGBTQ plus community, IA plus community. Enjoy the month. I also wanted to thank our MHPD and the Crime Commission for another successful bike rodeo. It was a good time. I know that Councilman Fleming will probably elaborate on it more, but I did want to say I was grateful to be there. I had fun, and it was good food and a good time. I wanted to take a step back also just to remind everyone that the Arts Board and the HREC are going to have the Arts and Pride event coming up on June 22nd. So I want to encourage everyone to come out. Normally in the past, I would be cooking. At times, it's been a little controversial, but no worries, because I won't be manning the grill this year. There will be a food truck, so come on out, get some culture, get some pride, and everyone is welcome. There's going to be activities for the entire community. It's family friendly, so please come on out and be a part of that. Speaking of the HRC, I wanted to give a huge kudos to the HRC board for the Lantern Festival that took place a couple weeks back. It was a great event. It featured, traditional Asian culture along with modern history and music from K-pop to J-pop. And it was a great diverse array of an experience. One of my favorite things that I forgot to bring was the lanterns that we were painting at the event. There was lanterns that the mayor actually painted one, as a matter of fact. We had lanterns you could paint and take home, and they were displayed at the front of the band show to just kind of show everyone the power and the unity of the event. And that was kind of a special moment, other than the mayor getting me out there to dance, which, I don't do, but it was still a good time. But, a
Good
lot of
sport.
time, I think that what'd you say?
You were a good sport.
I had no choice. I think sometimes the HRC feels like they are obsessively looked at for the things that they are doing, and I want to just commend them, because they were all there, they were all working. The chair of the HRC, Alex Yu, and her husband came out, and they came out in traditional Asian garb, and they were participating, and they were leading, and I want to thank them. I want to thank Aaron Brown, who is he is a military vet, and he is a service-oriented guy, and every time we have an event, he shows up, he shows out, and he works, and he's our vice chair. Jessica Showers, who is pregnant and who's a specialist in ADA compliance field, she was there, and she was trying to stop people from driving into the event, which was kind of weird that she had to, because one, she's pregnant, and two, people were just ignoring her. But Ashley Struck, who is new to HRC and contributing, and Kate Kapas, sorry if I said that wrong, she came and she cleaned up. To my fellow Councilor Warbach, who was a part of helping us initially get this thing kicked off, to D-Asian Media and to our chamber. It was a fantastic cultural event, and I encourage you guys to come out and see it next year. I think it's going to be even better next year. June is also Men's Health Awareness Month, and so I just want to encourage you guys to check on the men in your life. We don't always cry unless we have allergies like I do, and your eyes water, but sometimes we hold it in. So please take this month to just check in on the men in your life. Just say, hey, how you doing? And we always typically will say, I'm fine. So that's why I always ask people twice, because I know the first answer is the polite answer. The second one is the real one. So remember to check in on the men, and that is Men Health Awareness Month. And so with that, I'll say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers here on council. I'm pretty sure all the men on council here are fathers. So happy Father's Day to you all. I hope it's a restful day, even if that means you're working on the grill. And finally, for me, I would just like to say it's time to start your engines. It's time to start thinking about revving in the heights. So we're gearing up now. We're getting some things in place. If you didn't participate last year, the date is set for September 13th. It's going to be a fantastic event. We're partnering with the fire station again. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned for more details, and I encourage you guys to all come on out. So with that, just remember to be kind, and that's it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Sherman?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mrs. Marsh?
Nothing.
Pickleball. Pickleball court.
I've talked about pickleball so much, I don't think anybody wanted to hear it, so I just said nothing. But it was a great grand opening event. I can talk about it.
Okay, anything from the clerk's office this evening?
Nothing this evening?
Counselor Warbach?
I just want to say thank you to the members of the Environmental Citizens Committee. We had a native plant sale on May, thank you, what comes before June? May 25th, the day before Memorial Day. It's a wonderful event. A lot of money was raised. I don't have the final tally yet, but it is several $1,000s was brought in to go towards Environmental Citizens Committee initiatives, and planting native gardens, doing things like that, and continuing our garden grant program that has been enormously successful. So I'm excited about that continuing. I also want to just say congratulations to everybody that planned and executed Paradise Eve with the lanterns, the bike rodeo, and I'm really looking forward to the Arts and Pride this weekend, and Juneteenth, which is taking place on the 14th instead of the 19th, but it's the Saturday before the official Juneteenth holiday. It's going to be fantastic. I'm very proud of all the folks in the Madison Heights Citizens United and the folks who are planning and executing that wonderful event. So it's free family fun for everyone, and a wonderful way to recognize the fulfillment of the American promise of all people should be free and live in freedom. So I encourage everyone in the city and beyond to come and join us for that celebration. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Fleming?
Yeah. So first of all, I went to the Memorial Day event that we had. There was the parade and the service that followed that. And I really appreciate everybody who came out and supported the parade and the service itself. I know that Jean Linville was not she was not there this year. And so we have to keep her in good spirits and wish her well. And I'm not sure what's happening next year with next year's parade, but if you're passionate about the parade or the service, I hope that you will come forward and volunteer for next year's planning for the parade and the service that we have. It's very important for the veterans such as myself and everything that for our remembrance for our comrades who have passed on due to their fighting for our freedoms. Then the bike rodeo. I went to the bike rodeo also. I went downtown Detroit to the SEMCOG building, which is on Woodward Avenue, and picked up some bike lights, reflective gear, multi-language cards for bike safety. So I want to say a huge thanks to SEMCOG for providing all those materials. I know we had helmets there to pass out to. I forget who provided those. Usually it's TRAC or somebody else like that, or another organization does that. But I appreciate everybody who came out. It's a great opportunity for our residents to nurture the relationships with our police department and know that they're real people too. Finally, we also, a couple more things, I'm sorry. The city garage sale is on June the 21st, so if you're trying to get rid of a bunch of your stuff hanging out in your garage that you didn't throw away before, that now you can sell it. I also want to say that another kind of PSA here is that construction workers and safety on our streets that are being constructed. I drive down John R. and soon it's going to be 11 Mile also, and the road workers are out there almost right on the edge of the traffic every single day of the week. And there's a lot of things going on, so slow down. I know it's 35 and 40 miles per hour in some parts of John R., but really I think it's safe to say that going about 25 miles per hour, so in case one of these workers, they lose their balance or fall or into the road or something like that, they're not hit, too bad, but we have to really look out for our workers there, and it is a state law that, that we slow our speeds down too. And then finally, I want to say that to the comment that we had in the public comments about 11 Mile in the streetscape is that we're not going to have kids riding in the roads. There's going to be an expanded sidewalk that's going to be there that's going to be, I don't know, like 10 feet or something to that effect.
It's 10 feet.
How long?
It's 10 feet.
10 feet. So that will give room for pedestrians and riding bikes, very safe, separated from the street, from parking spaces and trees and stuff like that. And, there's not going to be any children or adults riding their bike on the street unless they're adults who really, I wouldn't ride my bike on the street, but sure. you can do that too. Just be, knowing that you're also have to obey the laws, so. All right, that's it.
Thank you. Soltis?
Yeah, I promised Ms. Marsh about, with pickleball, is that right?
What do you mean, is that right, that you're going to learn how to play?
Yeah, I'm gonna learn how to play. Is that
Yeah,
right?
just tell me when.
So, I
Stay
think it's
tuned.
kind of a goofy looking, thing, but, cause I grew up with racquetball and that, that's a game, but.
I hear a challenge.
Fighting
Fire.
words.
I'll give it a try. That's all.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, I don't know why she won't talk about it, but we had the grand opening of the pickleball courts. It was, they're really cool, and they're really bright blue. So, really good crowd. I thought it went really well. I'm not a pickleball player, and I'm nursing a sore hand, so I wasn't able to do it. But I will get out there this summer. Maybe I'll take on Councilman Soltis, we'll see. A lot of things have happened in the last month since we were here. Some of them were touched on, the Lantern Festival. I want to apologize to Councilor Wright. He spent the evening emceeing and making sure everything was okay, and then towards the end, we started doing the hula, and I went over, and I should have listened to him saying no, but I got him to come up and dance, and so he was a good sport. You were a good sport, but I apologize. I shouldn't have put you on the spot like that. You were happy doing your own thing there, so.
Okay, it's just a hula.
It was just a hula. But it was very good, and it was a really good event. And yeah, you make a lantern. So the only issue I have is I made my lantern and I did a tree, and then I left it with my husband so I could go hula, and he painted flowers on the back. And I said, I'm not the flower person, I'm the tree person. So they were really neat, though. It was really neat, and they dried in time that I could actually bike it home as well. So that was a great event. We also had, the Arts Board Gala. So that was really good. It was honoring Natalie Malotki, who is one of our homegrown artists. And she made it and she came back. It was a Broadway theme. So that was really good. I really thought that was a great event. I'm surprised that Pro Tem Bliss did not mention it, but that's okay. I thought that was a good event. Like I said, it's been a while since we've gotten together. And then I do want to make a comment about the parade. So to me, it's not about the parade, it's about the ceremony, it's about honoring, I know it's not supposed to be honoring the veterans, but it is honoring the veterans because there were veterans who lost their comrades. So, so it's partly about the veterans, and then more to it, it's about the families. And Jean Linville, our Gold Star mother, was not able to make it. We really weren't sure, found out the morning of that she wasn't going to be able to make it. So just keep her in your thoughts. And hopefully, she'll be able to make it next year. Walter Himmler, who is our World War II veteran, was there. And he had his 100th birthday in February, and we did up a proclamation for him, which I gave to him along. He had a letter from the governor, from our rep in Congress, from county executive. It was a really great event. There were, so many people, his family, his friends. It was just a very crowded. And, I see him once or twice a year. When we redid all of this, I let him know we had done this, and he was 98 at the time. And so I said, do you want me to give you a tour of the whole facility? He said, yeah, sure, that would be great. I can drive there. I was really surprised because he was 98, but he met me here, and we walked around. I showed him everything. Really liked it, and then I got to see him at the Memorial Day Parade. And yesterday, his son called me to let me know that Walter passed. So if you can keep the Himmler family in your prayers and in your thoughts, he was great. He was 100. He had a really full life. He was surrounded by his family, but he will be missed. I will miss him, and I think the city will miss him. He's lived here for so long. He raised his kids here, and he was just a really great person, and he was a veteran. He was a World War II veteran, and there aren't that many of World War II veterans around. So just please keep the Himmler family in your thoughts and prayers. Our next meeting is going to be on June 23rd. The time is 8:35, and this meeting is adjourned. Good night.